All right, here we go. It has to be this one, right? We just recently saw TheMuslim try to play Delhi against Hera. And, I mean, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched that video yet, it didn't end very well for him. Let's see what happens when he goes up against the Delhi Supreme Overlord, right? It is the return of 3DB on Nagari this time. So not quite the powerhouse for Delhi. The previous maps we've seen are such as, you know, things like Danube, Confluence, these ones that have clear kind of choke point type river maps. But this could still be spicy. However, it's not going to be if you die to a wolf right at the opening. Because 3DB, he's quite effective on this map. We've seen him slaughter some of the best with Delhi. We've seen cheeky openings. We saw what he done to Hera's TC when he was playing Mongols. So I hope TheMuslim isn't thinking about redeploying his TC anytime soon, experiencing some similar distaste. But it is going to be that Mongol versus the Delhi matchup. And the reason this matchup is always important is because of this opening. TheMuslim's done it, just like so many players do. He dedicates the wood early on onto the Uvu. This means that 3DB has the edge. He immediately drops a dock. And after that, we'll be able to get the fishing ships out. And the importance of this cannot be underrated, folks. It means he will have central control over the basin. And he can easily then lock TheMuslim out entirely for the early game, possibly through to the mid game, depending how hard TheMuslim wants to fight back. Weird generation, by the way. Never seen that little detail. Little side divot lake. But yeah, so opener-wise, 3DB, decent spawn here. Gold, retracted, behind you in both cases. Double wood line here. This is actually tasty. It gives you all this ability to play towards the back of your base if you feel threatened on land, which you can do against the Mongol player. But I don't expect the Muslim to engage too much on land, mainly because it is a Nagari, right? And if you do fail to go on the water, you're failing to win the game. And that's why he does this, right? He moves out, but 3DB, he understands exactly what his opponent's going to do. And once again, with his signature double scout opening, getting the value. Finds the back leg, snipes the villager out before he can complete it, and might even kill him. And that's a big deal. TheMuslim now going to be behind on the eco front. When the fishing boat's already out, the Khan can't harass under the villager out here, which means that 3DB can keep this villager out here and prep him for building a second dock in the coming minutes. And look at this, a hard commitment, 3 villagers coming out. You're probably going to lose 1, possibly 2 of these to complete the structure. And you're already at an eco disadvantage because your opponent's already in the water, right? And this is going to expand it further. So he runs 1 villager back. One of them is not even working. Oh my goodness. So many injured villagers. So he'll at least stem it to be 1 loss in the end, but I expect this villager to die. Depends if 3DB can get in front of him for the strikes. It's going to be tight though. Yep, he's going to get him. So at least gets the dock down, so now you can actually start getting the trade ships, but it means he sacrificed Senna Nagari, something we see so many players either through choice or through force have to do against Delhi. And now 3DB almost at a stage where he can afford a second dock. He needs to just build up his bulk a little bit more so that he can actually afford to keep producing fishing ships and build the second dock though. That's the important deep. And yeah, just a little bit behind the fishing boat production because he wants to now get onto the gold, understanding that he can hit a good timing on the tech up. TheMuslim really on the eco, kind of suffering a little bit. No show on the Uvu, so he knows he's safe there. And also keep in mind, because neither of them are close to a tech up, this is a smart move. Actually bombing the dock. Depending on how stunted TheMuslim is on his tech up, he could actually do this. And it forces a response out of TheMuslim, having to invest in the racks. And this is a painful thing to have to do at this stage because you were late onto water and because now you can't sustain the output of fishing boats, right? You're missing out on 1 extra fishing boat and you're already 2 or 3 behind. Interesting, the villager runs away. So 3DB isn't looking for a second dock here. Unless this is a misclick. I feel like there's no reason to move this villager back, right? You're never getting him back to base with the Khan nearby. And also, you want a second dock eventually, in my opinion. Double dock feels really good here. The only thing I can think that's preventing him is that he's paranoid about his opponent being a Mongol player, being likely to aggress him early on. That could explain it. And now the pesky Khan. Only 2 damage in the opening age, but still such a frustrating detail about this dude. And Moscow's also being dropped, so looking to start getting to those techs. Remember, he delayed this because he wanted the dock first, as Delhi players always do. And the racks now producing units. And I think this should be quick enough. The dock is only down to 650. So Scouts are going to be forced away fairly fast here. Tech up has begun already. Remember, TheMuslim has been delayed on this because, 1, he doesn't have the food. And, you know, to, like, the wood, he needed the additional wood to get into the racks the way he did, as well as continue production of the fishing boats. So, protects the dock at least, stabs out one of the sheep, which is a little bit annoying for 3DB. Not that he'll care too much, because, well, quite frankly, you're playing on a water hybrid map, so why do you need sheep anyway? And TheMuslim now finally ready for his deck up. And here's going to be the deer stone that we always see. And this will allow him to get aggressive with some spearman spam if he wants to in the early game. Could be an option against a Delhi player. Considering he saw his opponent build racks, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3DB drop an archery range. Also keeps the Khan at bay, right? But tech up will be successful first for 3DB. And prioritizing efficient production, as we often see now. Because you'll be halfway there by the time you tech up. Sanctity should come afterwards. Because if you can ever get your hands on those sacred sites, it's a lot of gold treacle. How many fishing ships now? So we're up to 5 compared to 8. 3DB could afford a second dock if he wants to. And oh, hello. This is an interesting idea. So TheMuslim, the outposts build quicker than the docks. So he's going to get an outpost down first, and then if he wants, he can try for a dock play, and if a fishing boat comes over to harass him, he can snipe it out. I think this is a missed trick for 3DB, not having a fishing boat on the other side here. He should be paranoid that his opponent's going to get on the center lake, because they're both going to be in feudal, and feudal is where you can strike back as the Mongols. The Mongols have incredibly powerful attack ships and archer ships, right? With a light junk and then eventually the war junks. Something that you don't match, right? Like, the Dows aren't too bad against the light junks, but the Baglers are poop. They're pure poop, in my opinion. Compared to the war junks, they just look like paper mache on water. This Khan has just been allowed to do whatever he wants so much this early game. And it's actually going to be a stable dropout for 3DB. So no interest in going for the archers. But he can go for the elephants, right? I don't know, like, it's war elephants. I'd rather have tower war elephants. I feel like the player's archers when you see your opponent has got the racks, right? And if you're paranoid about him being aggressive with early spearmen, even more so, go for archers. But, you know, 3DB, like, we're talking about a top 20 player, 13th on the ELO leaderboards right now. He knows what he's doing. TheMuslim, by the way, for reference, is up at 10th. They are both over 1,800 ELO. And they are boss grinders. 3DB 531 games played, TheMuslim 562 now. So out come the horsemen. Now this does give him means to raid any dock expansions as well as go after the villager lines potentially. But more importantly, it allows him to snipe out this Khan. And I think that's the play from 3D's perspective. He wants to get rid of this vision game, so TheMuslim plays the next 2 minutes blind. Which means that 3DB can kind of do what he wants, and TheMuslim won't necessarily be prepped for it. 3DB. Yeah, this is a bit late. He's sending across now, so the dock hasn't been built yet, but 2 horsemen won't be good enough to kill off this villager. Oh, and he goes. Yeah, so we'll have to back up for the moment. A bit problematic. This is what I'm talking about. He should have been over here sooner. Sacrifice 1 fishing boat over here to just keep it on scout vision. Horseman just trying to once again cycle it in, but TheMuslim doesn't really have anything else to watch right now, so you're never going to catch him off guard. Oh, or maybe you are! Oh my god, 3DB as soon as I say it! The curse, the double back! TheMuslim, because he sees him back off, he's like, alright, that's sorted. Yeah, I'll just check on this, I'll get my tech up. And he catches him trying to build it up, snipes out the villager, and that's going to stun any move onto the center lake for TheMuslim. TheMuslim currently on his way up to the castle age, not being matched by 3DB, by the way. 3DB, he's continued to build into these blacksmiths to prep for later techs, right? Because obviously, with the Delhi, it doesn't cost you to research, it costs you time, not resources. Now this small raiding force coming in. 2 spears can actually hold you back, though. Oh, he didn't stab the weak one. Yeah, just keep running through. You were never here. And more outposts coming down from TheMuslim. So 3DB has the mobility. He's getting the vision. He's getting the info, right? He doesn't see the archery range because it was built next to the TC, but he's hanging around long enough, actually. Yeah, so now he knows. He knows there's an archery range. And back across to try and actually finish off this dock. Unable to do so with one of these spearmen here, though. And now he's moving on the deep water fish. Much more efficient. And also sustainable. I think it's 2 will indefinitely sustain, 3 will very slowly dry a deep water fish location. Because remember, deep water fish regenerate over time. They never, ever truly run out. There you go. New age begun for TheMuslim. 3DB, halfway towards it, so he's actually not stunted that much. Big part of this is to do with the food economy, right? Like, it's 9 fishing boats compared to 3DB now up at 12. Keeping that advantage. Never trying to expand it with a second dock, though. Interesting when you consider how much surplus wood he has, actually. He could easily afford it. He's got 1,000 surplus just sitting there doing nothing. And it's going to be a compounded defender. So another player doing this, right? We saw this earlier today from a Delhi player, and we're seeing it again. Seems that after the switch up, after the changes, I think especially with Home Blaze being bugged and taking 15 minutes more than anything else, that was the deal breaker, that is now having players consider Compound the Defender a good alternative option, right? Because then you can actually aggressively wall your troops out in the field. It also means that you actually get more efficient value out of your stone investments, right? Like, keep in mind, remember, like, it reduces the cost of all stone costs on buildings, which means that the keeps end up costing a juicy 600 as opposed to the 800. And that can allow you to keep spam very easily, especially against an opponent who doesn't have access to keeps, aka the Mongols. Paraslit, slow crawl in, not being addressed at all by 3DB. So 3DB could easily end up losing these docks. And with the double dock drop by TheMuslim, he's ready to fight. Oh no. 3DB doesn't know about this. This is the big deal, guys. Look how many ships he's got. 2 or 3 boom ships could end this. Instead, he goes into the light junks, though. Understanding his opponent doesn't have any military influence on the center lake, he wouldn't be expecting this. However, 3DB knows something's wrong. He's actually building explosive dhows. I don't know how he's read this, but he's read it perfectly without the vision game in his favor, right? He has no clue that TheMuslim is sitting here on the other side of the lake. But yet he builds into the boom ships. And if he can get up to 3 of these, if TheMuslim holds back, well, 1 boom ship should kill, yeah, it will kill him off. Remember, 500 damage here. So both these light junks would get sunk if he reaches it. They are fast though, remember. Series ship, 1.62, 1.87, but remember, short range and nowhere to run and hide is a problem for TheMuslim. And straight in he goes, and down go 2 ships. Cost-effective trade as well. Remember, light junks 120, 90, so that ends up being 240 and 180 compared to explosive dhows at 160 and 80. And more of these outposts being spammed by TheMuslim. So vision game definitely on his side, but I don't know how free to be, like he just done on the water, just playing blind in a lot of ways, but still actually understanding what his opponent is doing. And now with the Tower Elephants coming out, this is problem territory for TheMuslim. Even backing away from the spears. Not wanting to mess with them. They do hit quite hard with that buffed up damage to cavalry, which is what the War Elephants are for those that are a bit confused. And that should force TheMuslim back. I do like these high ground outposts, just giving him the heads up on what his opponent's doing. Because one thing you're going to have to identify with 3DB, with him building into War Elephants, his moves are going to be slow. They're methodical, they're very powerful, but they aren't quick. So if you get the early info warning, you can actually adapt what you're doing in your base. And it's more spearmen. Spearmen, crossbowmen, definitely the best way to deal with the Tower Elephants. Problem for 3DB right now is it's only Tower Elephants, and that's what I don't like. He's not supporting this with anything else. Lancers, archers, you know, man-at-arms, something. I think man-at-arms could potentially be an option in this game, considering your opponent, considering the fact you have forced march, right? But just completely neglecting it, I'm not the biggest fan of. We'll see if it pays off, though. He's definitely at a strong point with 3 of these Tower Elephants now. And meanwhile, on the water. And here it is. There's the boom ships we were talking about. Explosive dhows. It won't be able to get deeper, but it does sink 3 of the boats. Oh, sorry, 2. Although this one should get free. Why does the game insist on making me wrong? Almost gets free again. Not the greatest trade, but not the worst either, right? In terms of like economy scale, it's not as good because it's 150 wood compared to the 160 and 80. But you're slowly killing off his economy on the water. And now, slowly killing off the elephants. He's trying to use the formation, the switch around as they turn to get it away. Somewhat works, but not good enough. There's just too many spearmen here. And look how quickly he's losing these Tower Wall elephants against the spears. Veteran spears are the answer, guys. Second one falling. And the mistake for FreeDB here is not actually having a composite force at all. He's up against archers, crossbows, and spearmen, and all he keeps pushing out are tower wall elephants. And definitely a more costly investment and loss for him in that fight there. As the Muslim loses the spearman and backs away. And is there a switch up? Because I need to see a switch up here. I'm not comfortable with this just being tower wall elephants all the time. They're slow, they're predictable, and they are looking countered right now. Maybe if you reach like 8 without TheMuslim having a big enough force, but there's no way in hell TheMuslim doesn't keep spamming out spears, right? And because he started to build this network of the outposts, he's keeping that buff up, right? 1.44 tiles is more than enough to chase down these war elephants that move at 0.88 tiles a second. And that's the importance of the outpost crawl, by the way. That's what I really want to highlight about TheMuslim, that he done fantastically in this game, is that he actually crawled out these outposts. He created that network to ensure he had control. Mongols, I think something that a lot of people miss, Mongols play very similarly to England in that there's a lot of reliance around outpost play. And it can be the difference maker between a win and a loss. Let's see if we can get him a win here. As FreeDB now up to 4 these tower wall elephants. Still producing more of them. And so many people just draining through the gold veins quickly. It's hard to keep up. Full lol attempt. It's going to be a fat fail. All these outposts attempt to be built in the meantime. Spearman chasing forward. Tower elephants trying to run away. One of them almost dead already is going to be dead in a second. And with that chase down, so much movement speed. 1.44 by default because the outpost, followed up by the maneuver arrow, allows them to just gap close so quickly and trade their lives effectively. And this really is the power of Mongols, right? Compared to other civs. Other civs wouldn't be able to gap close this quickly with spears. They'd lose several more. And in this situation, FreeDB not making any gains, not gaining any ground at all. And losing all these heavy investments. I hear the chatting, but I can't see what it is, but I will see the GG come out. FreeDB identifies that while tower wall elephants are powerful and Delhi can be too, such a one-dimensional strategy is counterable against spearmen and crossbowmen, and that's exactly what we see out of TheMuslim. Fantastic composition force to take down only tower wall elephants. FreeDB, still plenty to learn. We've seen he's a master on the Delhi, but in this game, I don't want to say he looked amateurish, but he definitely looked stubborn, right? Just one-dimensional, only going into the tower wall elephants. I think if he actually supported that with archers, would definitely have been an amazing play. I think archers would have solved most of his problems. Or maybe even going in for a few lancers, it can look good. I actually like archers the most because lancers, of course, he needs that gold. Like, he doesn't want to waste it on the lancers. Whereas I think you can find room in your economy to support 1 or 2 archery ranges producing archers. And if you do that, I think you actually have a solid force countering out everything that TheMuslim's doing up to that point because he doesn't have any armored units. But unable to do so, TheMuslim, well-earned victory. Once again, biggest highlight that fantastic play was the use of outposts just to give him that rapid mobility to overwhelm and shut down the Delhi before they could reach a critical mass of tower elephants. But outside that game, hello, welcome to the end of the video. Fantastic that you made it here. I'm surprised. I wouldn't listen to myself this long, but you seem to be enjoying it. And if you have enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have more videos coming every day. Make sure you thumbs up or thumbs down, no matter how you feel. I don't care. I just want you to interact so I can get that feedback and know what you guys want next, which is why you should also use that comment section down below. And if you want more games, because not all of the games that we cast here make it to the YouTube channel, be sure to go check me out at twitch.tv/killerpigeon, where you can catch even more juicy AoE4 games every other day, and sometimes, depending on how forward we are on the editing, every day, back to back. My voice non-stop. Okay, I've just realized I'm actually starting to convince you not to come over. Just come over. You'll enjoy it. I'll see you there.